We know that it sounds silly because here you are. You've come to learn to be the deliberate creator of your own reality. We know it should be really hard. It should be hard. There should be long, long, long lists of things to do in order to do it. I should be able to get my mind, my weak and limpy mind that's always focused in the wrong place. I should be able to wrestle it with the ground and make it focus on things that are meaningful to me. And we say, no, that isn't it. That isn't it. All you got to do is find something that's soft and feels good to you. For a while, Esther just focused on her pillow. Just appreciation.
My bed.
Just find something. Find something. But in doing so, before you're going to be willing to do that, we have to convince you that that's the work to be done. Because you're so used to jumping through the hoops and trying so hard and being measured against others and getting it all right. And you've heard all of this stuff about right and wrong and the pros and cons of things. And your very worthiness and beingness is in question in your mind so much of the time. And we say, where do you get this stuff? You are the leading edge, and source energy is adoring you and flowing to you and offering you everything that you could possibly want or need in every moment. And all you got to do is just soften yourself enough to be the receiver of it, you see. Which means you just have to find a soft thought. You just have to stop beating up on yourself for a minute. Just stop feeling critical of what you're not getting done and using what you used to get done successfully. Stop using it as a club to beat yourself over the head about what you're not getting done. It's like saying, oh, I was so thin. I used to be so thin. I used to be so thin and not now. Don't use past successes to torment yourself now. Don't use anything to torment yourself. Use everything and anything that you can think of to soothe yourself. Tell the story the way it feels best to you. I'm a good person. I was born as a good person, and I remained a good person. And I'm loved. I'm worthy. And Source adores me. And Source is flowing to me. And I'm figuring this out. And I don't have to figure it out all at once. And things are all right. And it's getting better all the time. And it's just a matter of the way I feel. I like figuring this out. And I am figuring it out. There's just no big deal going on here. Nothing serious going on. Nothing serious going on. We can tell you, and we don't want to get too much in your head, but you will never put yourself in a position where Source withholds from you. You just put yourself in a position where you don't let it in. And we know that you know that that's what you're doing. Right. And you're almost frantically saying, I know I'm doing this, and right. How can I stop doing this? And we say, just by feeling around until it feels good and then noting. I felt relief in that thought. That thought felt better. Because it's always better to love yourself than to be mad at yourself. But you can't go cold turkey on loving yourself. If you've got momentum going where you're self-critical or critical of others, critical about anything, you're not going to all of a sudden just drop that. There's momentum going. But you can remember the shrimp that tasted good, and that's a respite. That's relief. You can remember something funny that happened. If you would just get together with friends and talk about the funniest things that you remember happening, your energy would shift. If you would just get hold of some television series, Esther watches Big Bang Theory. Every minute she can find. She's got them all recorded. And a really nice evening is just to look and see, oh, I've seen that one, erase. Oh, I've seen that one, erase. Oh, I haven't seen that one. In other words, makes her laugh. Brilliantly written, makes her laugh. Nothing serious going on, makes her laugh. Feels good to laugh. Change the world. Watch Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
Easier than you've been making it out to be, isn't it?
Yes.
Is finding a way to feel good when you don't feel good complicated? Sort of, kind of, a little, isn't it? Because you are where you are. So take a nap. Take a nap if you can. Meditate if you can. Change the scenery if you can. Get outside. That usually helps right away. If you can find something like a furry critter to focus on, that almost always helps. Because they know nothing serious is going on. They just look at you like, what's your problem, lady? I got nuts. I got a tree. What's your problem? Esther was sitting at her desk a day or two ago, looking out at the swimming pool. And she saw something she hasn't seen. She's seen it one other time. A bird landed in the tree and did a belly flop into her pool. and then flew up, shook off, and did it again. And then flew up, shook off, and did it again. And then flew up, shook off, and did it again. 20 times, at least, a minimum of 20 times. Just for the surprise and delight. Well, it was also taking a bath, but it rendezvoused with Esther to surprise and delight her. In other words, it picked that moment, that time, that place to have that experience because there's nothing serious going on here. The world will entertain you. It will support you. It will soothe you. It will demonstrate your worthiness to you. You just got to get in the vicinity. And once you get in the vibrational vicinity of that, and you start noticing, see, the wonderful thing about a forum like this, where we talk about being more deliberate, about focusing your thoughts because of the feeling that you want to accomplish, is that when you think deliberately, and then you see the response to that point of attraction, that makes you feel more worthy. And after you do that for a little while, you begin to expect that things will always work out. Things are always working out. There's always a backup microphone. Things are always working out. There is always another way. Right now, right here, right where you are, to get you to where you want to be. There's always another way. But that path is not even available to you unless you are in a place of loving self. You got to be in that place. You see. So, yeah, it works out. It eventually works out for you, you stubborn buggers. It eventually works out for you because you get it a little and things work out, and you get a little more in alignment and things work out, and you get a little more in alignment and things work out. And after enough things have worked out, you start feeling, oh, I'm getting this.
Right.
But we would like you to realize that you could shorten the time between them not working out and them working out just by understanding that it's an emotional accomplishment that you have the ability of achieving much more directly than you think. If your kids are driving you crazy, don't stand there and try to talk them into some behavior that's going to make you feel better. That's going about it in the wrong way. And don't abandon them either. That feels like the right option, but it really isn't. Just don't try to make it happen right now. If you can, remember how much you love them or think about them when they were asleep. That's soothing. But get off any subject that's aggravating you. And this seems counterintuitive to the way you've been trained, because the way you've been trained by other humans is buck up, get it done. I don't care how you feel. The world doesn't revolve around you. And that's not right. The world does revolve around you. Your world revolves around your emotional state. So you got to do anything and everything that you can think of doing to improve your emotional state. And if that means no holds barred, look for a way to feel better now and better now and better now and better now, till you just get the hang of that, you see. And then we're not guiding you toward non-thought. We're not guiding you toward inactivity. What we're guiding you toward is alignment first, resistance out of the way, momentum in your aligned state, which will inspire all kinds of thoughts and relationships and behaviors and activities, but all inspired, you see. So for a while we're saying get into the vortex, and then now we're saying create your vibrational atmosphere by caring about how you feel and by finding thoughts that feel good. Just see yourself, your dominant work. If you were to leave this room with one word that you were going to empower yourself with, that you were going to use to make your world better right now, starting right now, and the word that you were going to use to help every other person that's coming to you for any kind of thing that they need, the words, I am a soother. I'm a soother. I soothe. I make the best of it. I look for the positive aspects, but don't get too carried away with that. Just soothe. Soothe yourself first, you see.
Okay.
Soothe yourself first. And you're not soothing yourself in that comparative state. Oh, it used to be better and now I don't know what I'm doing. That's not soothing. That's deliberately aggravating. That's poking at yourself with a hot poker. That's making it worse almost on purpose. That's the way your employer treats you. Prod, 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 motivate, 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 motivate. What can I do to make you do the work that you're supposed to do? I can threaten you with termination. What can I do to motivate you? Well, motivation is the antithesis of inspiration. Inspiration is calling you forward, you see. So you just got to hook up to that somehow, which means you got to be really nice to you. You got to be really nice to you. and really nice to others, which means you can't beat up on yourself about one thing, which means there's a lot of things you can't think about.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things that are just kind of off limits because you've decided to soothe yourself. So for a while, just won't think about that. Things come into your mind and you feel the aggravation of it. Just say to yourself, later, Gator. Later, Gator. I'll consider this later. I'll consider this later. You just don't get back enough to take a broad enough view. And you listen to the voices of those who have something to gain. If they can convince you that there's a condition that needs to be changed, and we're not saying that they're not conditions that you're not seeking improvement about, but we are seeing that beating the drum of the problem condition does not bring you to the solution ever, 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 ever. And there are enough of you, fortunately, there are enough of you who are not focused upon the problem. That's why the flora and fauna is so important about your planet, and that's why in some ways that you're worried about it. But we promise you, they are not worried. They just migrate to the conditions that serve them best. So then you say, oh, there's a problem. There's a problem with this part of the ecosystem. But the part of the ecosystem that lives there is adapting and moving and changing and thriving and in sync with source energy. And then you say, but what about the parts of the ecosystem that are now extinct? And we say, how do you tell if they are extinct or if they are expanded? How do you know if they are extinct or if they are evolved? How do you know if they have not adapted and changed, you see? And so we know, and Esther will get letters, because there are those who are comfortable in their insisting on the destruction of the planet. But we're here to remind you, because we have not forgotten, that you are not devolving, you are evolving. You are not unbecoming, you are becoming. You are not disappearing, you are reappearing. Your planet is well. Your planet is well. There is so much more evidence of the wellness. Now, if you say to us, Abraham, the sun didn't come up this morning, then we'd say, we were wrong. The sun did come up this morning, and it will come up tomorrow morning. And the evolution of all that is upon your planet is improving. And the reason that we know that is because at a cellular level, there is asking. And at that cellular level where there is asking, there is no resistance. Hear that. At the cellular level, which is the basis of all that you know as physical beingness, there is asking and no resistance. So why are you, as humans, getting on these bandwagons where you're looking at conditions and trumping them up and putting dramatic music behind them, and then using that condition that has been exaggerated and trumped up and is way out of perspective with everything else as your reason to not allow your cells that are asking and non-resistance to be the recipient of that well-being, you see? And that's why we say, if all of the humans banded together and watched videos that made you doubt your well-being, you still collectively would not be enough to cause destruction of this planet, because you are not the major vibration of this planet. The major vibration of this planet is happening on a cellular level, on a microscopic level, on an animal level, on a vegetable level, on a plant level, on a source energy level, you see. No matter how bad you decide you're going to feel today, you cannot mess it up for the rest of us. You got way more than you deserved there, in the sense that we know that you are much more appreciator of life and that things are going well for you. And we know that you have these issues and that it is your appreciation of this planet that feels so precious to you that even makes you go to those places at all. But when something feels precious, except just a little bit, you're assigning to it vulnerability. And you can't assign vulnerability to your planet and ever be in sync with the source within you. Do you know how much has gone into this planet spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets? Do you even have any understanding of the well-being that's happening around here? It's time to focus on that, friends. Yeah. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. It is delightful to come together with those like you who are exploring and considering and concluding and aligning.